Greetings everyone, this is David, and before I fully get into this video, I want to show to you the effects that Russian airstrikes have on Ukraine in this current ongoing war. Let's check it out. War is no doubt a terrible experience, especially for the civilians. But the clips that I've just shown you, it is not from this war. It is, in fact, from 8 years ago, and it shows you the attacks of the Ukrainian Air Force against the Russians in the Donbas area, including the civilians. This is an example and exemplifies the essence of modern media today, showing you a video clip and then blatantly lying to you about it. We should bear in mind the statement from Metropolitan Hilarion from the Russian Orthodox Church outside of Russia, when he made this statement a couple of days ago stating that we should not be watching the news, we should not be following the television. What we should be doing instead is praying for peace in Ukraine. And I agree with this because what I've seen in the last couple of days in social media and in the news channels is just blatant lying, blatant misinformation, and it is just a complete waste of time. And the worst part of it all is that a lot of people are just believing in these lies without questioning them. This video is going to be showing you a couple of examples of this misinformation campaign being ran from the media, and just showing you examples and evidences of these lies. You will notice that a lot of these myths that I'm going to be debunking in this video is going to be from the pro-Ukrainian side. Does this mean that the Russian side doesn't lie at all? I'm not saying anything in regards to that. It is just that, first of all, this Russian side does not do reporting at all. They kind of just don't, it is a Ukrainian government that kind of just speaks about Russian casualties, for example, which no doubt the numbers are very inflated. Whereas the Russian side is usually quiet most of the time. And is there Russian misinformation? Of course, absolutely. Both sides misinform people. But the reason why I'm going to be highlighting the Ukrainian misinformation is that many people today just point blank, without questioning, believe in the Western pro-Ukraine narrative without questioning it. This is one of the examples. Many people think, for example, that the invasion was completely unjustifiable and that Putin had no reason to do what he did. First of all, the clip that I just showed you is one of the reasons that Putin used for what he's doing in Ukraine, that the Russians in Donbas, in eastern Ukraine, were being persecuted for 8 years. But another reason, as you can see here in this PowerPoint slide, is NATO expansionism to the east. Now, if you don't know, kind of the whole point of NATO is kind of to be an anti-Eastern Bloc organization. And so the organization is inherently hostile to Russia. If NATO had presence in Ukraine, or if the possibility of that puts Russia in a difficult position. If they allow it to happen, there will be NATO missiles pointing to Russia in Ukraine, right at Russia's borders. This is not a comfortable situation for Russia, geopolitically speaking. So these two reasons are indeed actually very justifiable reasons to attack. Anyone who has read basic world history will know that wars that could be justified for way less have occurred many times in history. Or we can even go to recent history, with America invading Iraq due to flimsy reasons that were blatant lies, such as, Iraq supposedly having weapons of mass destruction, and the evidence that they used turning out to be fake, right? But no one is talking about it. In fact, people are putting a very uncharitable reading of Russia's actions. Is this a defense of Russia's decision? Not really. This is not the video for it, but rather to show to you how media manipulates information. Here's another example. There's this video of a tank running over a Ukrainian civilian, and many people say, just because the text says it, right? Oh, it's a Russian tank running over a civilian car. Now, if you watch the video, in fact, it is very clear that it's an accident. But another thing that is also actually clear, if you have basic knowledge of tanks is that this is a Strela-10 air defense tank, which is a Ukrainian tank. And you kind of have to question, so, this happened in Kiev, a city that is still in Ukrainian control. I don't think a Russian tank can just chill, in the city center of Kiev. I mean, maybe there are parts of Kiev that Russians can chill or, just kind of comfortably move around, but the chance of it is not as high. And so even if you kind of are not sure of the argument Rob Lee is making here, the likelihood of this being a Russian tank compared to a Ukrainian tank is actually much lower. But again, the initial videos that were posted said it's a Russian tank, and everyone believes it without questioning. Here's another example, Ghost of Kiev. This is a popular one. This is a very popular myth that supposedly, right, a Ukrainian airplane, a Ukrainian plane, jet or whatever, shot down 6 Russian planes. And, the Ghost of Kiev is this amazing battler and whatever. The clip of the supposed Ghost of Kiev that they have is from a video game, Digital Combat Simulator. Even mainstream media is admitting this. If even mainstream media is debunking this story, you know that it's just not working. But Ukraine promoted this news story. Right? It was the Ukrainian government, the official government Twitter account, the same Twitter account that's posting Reddit tier memes, where they propagate the Ghost of Kiev myth. And you see many people when they see the Ghost of Kiev, the debunking, people say, well, don't debunk, don't post it, don't share it anywhere. Let people believe it because it gives morale to the Ukrainian army. I mean, these people are willing to believe in lies just to feel good about themselves. What about Snake Island? That's another great example. The Snake Island is supposed to be this brave defense of the Ukrainian troops, where the 13 Ukrainian troops were defending Snake Island, and they stood against Russia, and they insulted Russians, and supposed to be this cool thing, right? Well, that's what the story initially was. But then the Russian side, a couple of hours later, showed footage of the soldiers from the Snake Island. By the way, there wasn't 13 people. There were more than 80 soldiers there. And they willingly surrendered. And when they surrendered, were they beaten? Were they persecuted? Were they attacked? No. They were treated like human beings. And in fact, if you still don't believe the Russian narrative on this, the Ukrainian side is actually confirming this. Ilya Ponomarenko confirms this. And Ilya works for, I believe, what is called Kiev Independent. And I'm talking about Kyiv, that's kind of spelling, which is a pro-Ukrainian, organization. He works for that, so he's pro-Ukrainian. And even he confirms that the Snake Island sailors are alive and they were taken prisoners by Russia because they surrendered, right? What about another lie? This is supposed to make Zelensky look really cool, right? Images of Zelensky being in the front lines or videos, etc. Well, the images are actually old images from a little less than a year ago, when he was inspecting the border. So then there are videos, or there are some videos Zelensky posted where he is in the streets of Kiev, right? Now, the Russian side argues, in fact, those videos were pre-recorded and that Zelensky is not in Kiev anymore. Now, so far, maybe in the future Zelensky will refute this, but so far there has been no refutation of it. What will refute that statement will be another video of Zelensky going into the streets of Kiev and, saying the date, and saying, this specific person made this claim is false, I'm in Kiev right now. That will completely refute this argument. But we haven't seen something like that yet, which it's kind of hard to see that. So I'm willing to kind of say it's neutral, right? Because after all, Kiev is under attack at the moment. Maybe in the future, again, we will see the truth. But what I'm highlighting here is that media is propagating the idea that Zelensky is this brave president that is on the front lines to make him look cool to the West. But again, that is not necessarily true. That's at best, it is unconfirmed. It is unconfirmed. And these are some of the other silly myths and silly beliefs that the people online who are pro-Ukraine has. For example, this supposed Kharkiv killer who's a 17-year-old girl who snipe down multiple units and whatever. And it's just, people posting a picture and saying, this is the car killer, or this is the blah, blah, blah. And they killed 6 billion people or something like that, with absolutely no evidence. Or a Russian airplane got shot down. No evidence, no recording, no photograph, no nothing. And people believe this because, again, it makes them feel better. But to kind of remember what this video is about, don't believe any information you see online just because some guy says this in a text. This is a very funny one. This was an actual tweet, by the way. It's deleted right now. This person argued that Ukrainians have an Iron Man, and he, downed 3 fighter jets. Some like Iron Man guy in the sky fighting. Like, people have been so poisoned, and he's even saying, Iron Man is leading the Avengers, like talking about some superhero movie, and applying it to. And I've seen this in Twitter a lot. I have seen this in Twitter a lot, where people like use Avengers or Harry Potter examples to explain this war. I mean, these people are such man-children that they cannot understand anything unless it is explained to them like they're a baby. And we're supposed to believe these people. We're supposed to be agreeing with these people blindly, or we're mean, or we're bad people. If you don't believe in some Marvel superhero nonsense that these people argue about. This is a very clearly a troll post. If you actually look at the post and the comments this guy makes, he's very obviously trolling. But the people that liked this post, they don't know that. Most of the people genuinely believe that this woman in this picture is this kiss of death who killed 23 Russians while she was defending Kiev. This is an Israeli soldier. This is a picture of she's not even Ukrainian. She's as much of an Ukrainian as Vladimir Zelensky is Ukrainian. Okay? She's an Israeli soldier, and people still believe this, again, without question. And if you look at the description below, I'm going to post a couple of links in the description below. You're going to see even more examples, more blatant examples of misinformation that you have not even thought of, right? That you have not even seen about. And what is kind of the point of this video? Well, if you still don't understand what the point of this video is that the coverage of this war is just full of blatant lies. You're seeing the amount of psyops and agitation operations going on against the mainstream people from the media, whether it's from news media or whether it's from people, these experts, supposed experts on Twitter. It is just blatant gaslighting, blatant lies, misinformation, and really disinformation, to be honest with you, very clearly going on. And the evidence is not even that difficult to find out. But what is even worse, it isn't the fact that these people are lying that's the bad part, is that so many people actually believe these lies and they make up these fantasy worlds. And what is even worse than that, that's not even the worst part. These people know that these are lies. They know that these stories are fake, but they pretend to believe in it because it makes them feel good about themselves. And if that doesn't show you the state of mankind today, I don't know what does, okay? I don't know what does. And this is something that we really have to think about, and it is something that we have to look out for. And that is what my video, in essence, is about. I would like to end this video by thanking all of my financiers on Patreon, right? All of my financiers on Patreon. Mitch, Jonathan, Steven, Vlad, Kerry, Ignatius, Mike, Jack, Teresa, Nectarius, Flood Basement, Dave, Colton, Seraphim, David, and Norbert. Thank you all for financing my channel, financing this evil person, whatever. And thank you for watching. Hopefully this video was useful for you. If you think this is very useful, then make sure to share this. Like this video if you haven't. Subscribe to this channel already if you haven't. Not only for geopolitical stuff, but also for theological stuff that I consider very important. And yeah, that's it. I will see you all in the next video. Thank you for watching. Take care, and may God be with you all. Goodbye.